Hi friends, today on At Laura's Table, I want to share with you a decadent chocolate dessert that is perfect for you to share with your love on Valentine's Day. Let's get started. So today, we're going to make the ultimate chocolate cheesecake in our Instant Pot. The first thing we want to do is make our crust. It has 3 ingredients. I've crushed 10 graham crackers, and that's the whole cracker with 2 crackers, 1 on each end, in my food processor. You can also do this in a zip bag with a rolling pin or a meat mallet. This just makes it much quicker and easier for me in my kitchen. Let me get this bowl and I'll mix this up for you. Then you have 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar and 3 tablespoons of melted butter. I'm leaving just a touch of that butter in there. And after I get this mixed up, I'm gonna prepare my pan. Just gonna stir this together quickly. This has actually been called by my husband the best dessert I have ever made in all the years he's known me, and that's been a really long time. So that's high praise, because we try a lot of different recipes at our house. So if you're looking for something extra special to share with the ones that you love on Valentine's Day, this might just be the recipe that you're looking for. All right, that looks nice and crumbly. And I'm going to take this pastry brush and take this little bit of reserve butter in my bowl. I've cut a circle out of parchment paper the size of my springform pan. This is a 7-inch springform pan that fits perfectly down inside my 8-quart Instant Pot. And I'm just gonna butter the inside of my springform pan, doing the bottom and the sides. This barely takes any butter, so there's no need to melt extra for this. This helps this parchment stick. Excellent, see? All done. I'll put a little bit on the top side, and that is all finished. I'm gonna put this in the sink. And now I'm going to put my graham cracker mixture in my springform pan. I like to bake my graham cracker crust for 5 to 7 minutes at 350 degrees because I like the contrast of the crunch with the soft cheesecake. And I use the bottom of a glass to evenly spread this around inside my springform pan and up the sides. I'm gonna make this where you can see what I'm doing. So hang on just 1 second. So here's my graham crackers, and I wanna show you how you mash this around in here with the glass. See how I mash that up to the sides? My glass is pretty much flat on the bottom, and I work this around. It's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. This is cooking. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to make sure it's even across the bottom and there are not any holes. Now mash this around. Try to not have any places that are too thick around the sides. That looks pretty good. Let me show you. See? It's not perfect, but for what we're working on, it's excellent. Now I'm going to bake this in the oven for 5 to 7 minutes at 350 degrees, and then we will work on our filling for our cheesecake. Now we need to start on our filling. The first thing we need to do is melt our chocolate. We are going to use 5 ounces of bittersweet chocolate that's at least 60% cocoa. And then we're going to use 5 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate. I recommend that you use the best chocolate you can get at your store. I love the Ghirardelli chocolate for this recipe, and it really does not cost that much more than your store brand. For a special occasion like Valentine's Day, let's splurge and make the best dessert we can for those we love. So, I melted my chocolate in 30-second increments in the microwave. I've got it nice and smooth now here in my bowl. I'm going to lift it up with this towel. It's a little bit hot. I wanted you to see how silky and shiny it is. I'm going to set this off to the side while I get my cream cheese and sugar mixture mixed together quickly. And then we will add our chocolate. Now there are a couple of secrets to getting a cheesecake to come out correctly in your Instapot. One of them, as usual with any cheesecake, is that your cheesecake, or your cream cheese rather, is at room temperature. But you also want to make sure that your eggs are at room temperature also. If they're cold, the temperatures are not going to be correct in your Instant Pot, and your cheesecake's not going to come out correctly. It cooks so quickly. Those two things are very important. So let's get to assembling our filling. You set this to the side for just a second. We will assemble our filling. So you need 2 8-ounce bars of regular cream cheese at room temperature. Then I need a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. I'm going to mix these together with my hand blender here. It's going to be kind of loud. Once I get this nice and well incorporated, I'm going to add my eggs that are at room temperature 1 at a time. So I need to get this cream cheese and sugar mixture smooth. Then we will add our eggs 1 at a time. All right, let's get an egg. I think they were right when they named these happy eggs. Scrape down the sides of this really quick. Once we get this other egg incorporated, we will add our chocolate, and we are ready to fill our cheesecake. All right, let's add our chocolate, and we're ready. When you're melting chocolate, you need to try and keep in mind that if 1 drop of water ends up in this, it will seize up. Or it's also very easy to scorch your chocolate in the microwave. So that's why you go in 30-second or even 15-second increments. It only took me 1.5 minutes to melt all 10 ounces of this chocolate in my microwave for this recipe. Now, I cannot leave all that yummy goodness in this pan because I said it was ultimate chocolate cheesecake, and it's not going to be if I leave half the chocolate in this bowl. Lots of times I have people here in the house with me that would assist me in cleaning the chocolate out of this bowl, but they're not here right now, so we have to do it ourselves. All right, let's get this mixed up and then our cooled crust. Let's get this mixed up really quick. All right, it's ready. I'm going to pour this in my cooled crust and get it in the Instant Pot. So this cheesecake cooks on high pressure in the Instant Pot for 15 minutes, and then it has a 10-minute natural release. You need to cover this with foil and either make a foil sling to retrieve it out of the Instant Pot, or if you have a trivet with handles, use that. I'll show you that in just a second. All right, that is going to be delicious. So I'm gonna cover my cheesecake with foil so that it doesn't get water in it. I'm gonna show you how I prepare it for the Instant Pot. So I have this trivet with handles, which makes it easy for me to retrieve this out of the Instant Pot. So here is how this works. And I will show you how we load it in the Instant Pot. So now let's load our Instant Pot with our cheesecake. Let's take off our lid. My other trivet is in here, so I need to take that out. We're gonna add 2 cups of water to the Instant Pot. I'm using my trivet that I got for my Instant Pot with my cheesecake covered in foil. You can also make a sling out of aluminum foil. I'll have the instructions for that on my website with the recipe. Then you want to place your lid back on. Make sure that your valve is to sealing. You're going to place this on, I use cake, then I adjust it to more so that it's on high for 15 minutes. Once this is done cooking at pressure high, 15 minutes, you allow it to natural release for 10 minutes, and then your cheesecake is finished. So our cheesecake has cooked on high pressure for 15 minutes and done a 10-minute natural release. Let's see how it turned out. Let me see if I can get it out of here without burning myself. Now this aluminum foil sometimes will have a little bit of water on top, so you want to make sure that doesn't get in your cheesecake. That looks pretty good. It's a little bit jiggly in the middle. That'll set up nicely in the refrigerator when I put it in the refrigerator to chill before we cut it. I'll bring you in close with the camera so you can see how it looks up close. So I'm going to place this cheesecake in the refrigerator for 4 to 6 hours. Even better if you have time to let it chill overnight. And I will show you the finished product later. Hi friends, So my ultimate chocolate cheesecake has chilled in the refrigerator overnight. So let's see what it looks like. All right. Now we want to take a sharp knife and run it along the edge of our springform pan and loosen that crust that we put in the oven for, I put mine in there for about 6 minutes. I told you 5 to 7 minutes. I don't know if you remember, we put some melted butter along the edge of this. And then we pressed our graham cracker crumbs up against it with a glass. That cold butter is on there pretty well. That's why I use a sharp knife. And then your springform pan is gonna have this latch, and you're gonna wanna wiggle it just a little bit. This side seems to be coming loose pretty good. Actually, it's coming out pretty good. I want you to see what's happening here. See, I'm able to get my cheesecake out. Yay, it worked. And not very much of my crust stuck to my pan. So we have success. All right, I'm gonna have to get a paper towel. Have a little bit of cheesecake on my hand. So I'm gonna wanna decorate the top of my cheesecake because it is Valentine's Day, so we wanna make this special. I love chocolate and raspberries, so I wanna put a few raspberries on top of my cheesecake. I may put a few extras just because it's my favorite. And I may not share them as well as I should when the time comes. And I'm going to put some powdered sugar on top of that and make it snow. It just takes a little bit to make it pretty. I want you to see this. See how pretty that turned out? Oh, I lost some raspberries. See, we're actually cooking here. That is the beauty of television, real life. So I'll show you up close and then I'll slice a piece in just a second. So I want to place my cheesecake on this pretty little cake stand. That's part of the reason we put the parchment paper underneath our cheesecake before we started. You are welcome to leave yours on the bottom disc of your springform pan. It's not gonna hurt a thing. But I have this large offset spatula, which will help me transfer my cheesecake. If I can get it started underneath there. There we go. You see, it starts to lift from the parchment paper, which enables me to move it and transfer it. And I left a little bit of crust. If my husband was home, he would come claim that little taste, but he's at work, so we'll toss that and he'll never know it happened. And this I can cover and put back in the refrigerator to save for our Valentine's dinner. So it's time to cut our cheesecake. One of the tips I'd like to give you to make it easier to cut your cheesecake is you can take a glass of warm water and dip your knife in your glass before you start to cut each slice of your cheesecake. Then you can wipe the excess cheesecake off your knife with a paper towel, re-dip your knife, and it makes for a really clean cut on your cheesecake. Now I'm gonna cut a little baby slice because I don't want a huge slice before I have lunch today. Once I get started on this, it's so delicious. I don't know if there'll be any left when it's time for my family to have some. Oh, that first slice sometimes doesn't come out so perfectly. There it is. Let me make it look a little prettier for you. And since I love raspberries, I'm going to add a few more to my plate. But see how pretty that came out? And the first slice is always the hardest. And I'll add a few more raspberries to the plate because I love them. And the tartness goes so well with the sweet chocolate. Let's give it a taste. Mmm. This is so delicious. It's such a deep chocolate flavor with a little bit of that cream cheese, cheesecake tang. It's so decadent. It's a must try for your holiday treat.